director of the National Endowment of the Arts when he was 27, which this is the United States' premier kind of funding agency for the arts. He's a prodigy, and he teaches a course at the University of California, Los Angeles, which is packed, and it's a course on art and social change. And he brings students of art into his class, and he says, look, your job is to dream differently, is to help us see the world in a better way. But no one's going to pay you for that. If you get a job leaving here and they pay you for it, you're not doing it right. Because if there's a job for which someone can pay you, that work doesn't need to be done. The work that needs to be done is dreaming differently, and no one's going to pay you for that. And that's the work you need to do. And it's a tall order. It's scary for us to imagine, leaving with student loans. And of course, this is of course. But when I was an undergraduate, I didn't have any loans. I was still. I went to a state school. I went to Oxford. It was free. The fact that we now, we've lost that sort of horizon of possibility, or it certainly feels like we have, is testament to the mess that we find ourselves in. But his advice is still good. And for people wanting to make social change happen, putting oneself at the service of having a university education is a tremendous privilege. And using that privilege in the service of social change, I think, is absolutely paramount. But there's another piece of advice that I want to give that's often that James Scott, who's an anthropology professor at Yale, also gives. And maybe this is good advice to end on. In his first year undergraduate class of anthropology, everyone comes in and they're like, Professor Scott. And he comes in and goes, ladies and gentlemen, at some point, the world is going to change so much, and the world is that things are going to get so egregious that you are going to have to break a law in order to maintain your dignity and maintain the person that your fidelity to yourself, to be able to be the person who you believe deep in your hearts you are and that you want to be. Sadly, says Professor Scott, we're not used to doing that. And so my advice, says Professor Scott, is that every day you should break a law. Small one. And it doesn't have to be, trespass. Plant something where it doesn't belong. Take from the rich and give to the poor. But whatever it is, get oneself used to thinking outside the structures that think us. And by the everyday sort of calisthenics of resistance, we become stronger, and we figure out how to imagine the world differently. But that starts with an everyday practice of resistance that it's not too late to start now. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Well, I'm sure you'd agree with me that we've tonight been enlightened and entertained by somebody who is an exemplary public scholar, public intellectual. He's allowed us to hear stories that we thought we knew, weave them together with other stories we thought that we knew, and to bring forth a new understanding of things that we once thought were old but now clearly are new again. So thank you very much for a wonderful evening. I'd like to invite Danielle Belin to come up and formally thank our guest.
I just broke a rule. I'm a free man. Thank you very much, Raj. I could not resist. First of all, I want to remind you about the reception just after this, because, well, there will be hors d'oeuvre, huh? So we feed you, we feed the world. Now, booze was mentioned, I think, by Raj, but actually it's a cash bar. But I'm willing to give my coupon to any poor student who needs a drink, because I don't drink. So come to see me after the talk. And in addition to the cash bar and the food, there will be a jazz trio. So our rock star will be there with the jazz trio. He will be signing books, and so that will be great. You're all invited. Of course, I'm here to thank the organizers of this, and of course, Raj Patel. Now, what I want to say about Raj Patel's visit is that this talk is only, oops, I broke another law, I just scrapped a glass. Farewell, I didn't break it, it just fell. It's true that this is not really practical. The truth, Raj, is that the glass should simply go here.
Yes.
Okay, but more seriously, this is Raj Patel's schedule for the last 2 days. Okay, so he really gave tons of interviews. He met with small groups of students, both graduate students, undergrad students, members of the community on campus and well beyond. And so he gave a lot of time to this community, and I have to say that it was wonderful to see him around, not just attending this talk, but yesterday attending an event with him, and it was really fantastic. And so I want to thank you, Raj Patel, for visiting Saskatoon, for spending time with us, for your advice and your great talk, and I hope we will see you again soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Really appreciate it. Thanks very much.